Dragon's Dogma 2 5-minute spoiler-free review. Pros and cons. I'll be letting you know who I think I would recommend this game to and who I would say should probably stay away. But of course it's up to you to see the pros and the cons and see if one outweighs the other and decide for yourself if this is a game worth spending your money on. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the pros. So, top of the list, number one thing the game has going for it is the fun gameplay. The gameplay is just extremely satisfactory. It is fun, it is interesting, and it's really the main thing that makes me want to keep playing the game. All the vocations have a good amount of skill ceiling, and they're fun to get into. It's very fun to progress, very easy to progress, very easy to get good gear and so on and have fun. Every class feels different. The way you play will be pretty dependent on how you want to play. Speaking of the classes, they're called vocations, and vocations have their own identity, which is another big pro. Even classes or vocations that are similar, such as the warrior and the fighter, will feel fundamentally different. And of course, playing something like an archer or a thief or a mage or a sorcerer will all feel totally different, and that is amazing. Everybody that loves action RPGs will have something to play with. Speaking of the gameplay system, there's also fun physics enabled. Quite a few things have a lot of physics enabled to them. So, for example, bigger monsters, you'll be able to trip them over, have them fall down on things, have them interact with the environment, break down trees, break down bridges. You'll be able to throw things, throw boulders at enemies, throw enemies at enemies, climb on top of monsters, have them fall down from the sky. It is a very fun game, made even more fun with the physics system. And speaking of the game, it simply looks gorgeous. That's another pro. It looks very nice. It stays loyal to the art design of the first game, while still looking a lot more modern. My only issue with the visuals of the game is that although especially the environments and so on look very pretty, the character models can be a little bit odd. Especially my biggest complaint there is when the NPCs are talking and their mouth is moving. The mouth animation is just kind of janky, kind of weird, but other than that, if you're just looking at the game, exploring the world, it'll look very pretty. And speaking of exploration, the game has very interesting exploration. Oftentimes, you'll see things off in the distance, and guess what? You can go there. For the most part, there'll be a lot of caves to go to, ruins to go to, and it is definitely one of the fortes of this game, the interesting exploration. Then, you also have a very detailed character creator, so if you like making your characters look just the way you want them to, maybe look like someone you know or someone from your fantasy, you can make the most beautiful character creations, or you can make total nightmare fuel. It's totally up to you, and I think that is just quite amazing. That's a big pro. But now, let's go into the cons. Remember, we only have 5 minutes. We'll go through this real quick. So what cons does this game have? Number one, poor performance. The game does not run well, even on high-end systems, and even then, I don't believe a game should require a high-end computer to run decently. That means decently means 60 frames more, okay? On consoles, it doesn't run well. There's no performance mode. On PC, it doesn't run well. Just bad performance overall. Very CPU intensive. Bad. Second con, subpar story. Story is just not very good. It's pretty plain. It starts off kind of strong and then just very quickly goes downhill. Speaking of story, the narrative is just bad overall. Yeah, it's just bad. That's all I'll say. The game feels unfinished, and a lot of it is actually kind of the story. It feels like it does set up quite a few things, and then it just never goes through with it. Even some gameplay elements just feel unfinished. It just feels like an unfinished game, which also includes a lack of enemy variety. There's honestly not that many enemies, especially in combat sort of game. I really hope there'd be more. And just overall, there's a few awkward design choices, such as only having 4 equipable skills in this combat system, which kind of needs those skills. So overall, I still personally enjoyed the game, and I don't regret buying it, but I can't recommend it to everyone. So, the 5 minutes are up. Who do I recommend this game to? Well, I recommend this game if you love the fun combat and exploring a fantasy world. Then this game is going to be right down your alley. In fact, if you're a Monster Hunter fan and enjoy the idea of hunting down monsters while traveling a new world, and even using some of those monster parts to upgrade your gear, then this game is made kind of for you. If you're an adult that works an actual job and you're just looking for something fun and casual to play, and you just have the disposable income and you don't mind spending the $70, because keep in mind, it's supposed to be a finished product, $70 game, and you just have that money, then honestly, I recommend it. If you just want a game to casually game on your nights off and don't mind it being a relatively short experience, then this game is definitely for you. If you want a fun single-player experience and that you can play at your own pace, I highly recommend it to you. If you love high fantasy, especially medieval fantasy games with magic, monsters, the typical goblins, hobgoblins, slimes, minotaurs, all these things, the game is definitely for you. It's very cool being able to actually be in this world. However, I do not recommend this game if you're looking for hundreds of hours of gameplay. If you're looking for a deep and beautiful story, I'm sorry, but this is not the game. At least not the way it is right now. So in good faith, I cannot recommend it to you if you're looking for that. This game is not perfect, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but personally, I still had a blast, and it has enough of a foundation to hopefully one day be a truly successful title. I give this game a 7 out of 10. The good things that it does are very great. I just wish it didn't have all those negatives dragging it down. 7 out of 10, Dragon's Dogma 2.